Gladiators battle it out inside the Colosseum. People in flowing robes discuss politics in the Roman Forum. Chariots clog up the streets of the capital. The year is 2077 AD and you are in Rome. You've just entered the most powerful city in the world, the beating heart of the never-fallen Roman Empire. But something isn't right. Flying cars weave between ancient buildings, and legionnaires wearing power armor direct traffic. Vendors sell street food from carts powered by bioluminescent fungi. And in the distance, you can hear the familiar strains of Italian opera mixed with a pulsing rhythm of techno music. Welcome to the Eternal City, where tradition and innovation meet and where the spirit of Rome has never faded. To understand how we got here, we need to go back to the beginning of the Roman Empire. Like any good story, this one starts with a war. The year is 476 AD, and the Western Roman Empire is in chaos. Barbarian tribes are at the gates of Rome, and the army is divided and corrupt. Romulus Augustulus, the last emperor of the West, sits on the throne in Ravenna as his generals plunder the provinces and betray him at every turn. In the east, Zeno rules over a resurgent empire, but he is far away in Constantinople and has little interest in saving Rome. For the people of the Eternal City, it is a time of great fear and uncertainty. Will their city be sacked? Will the invaders spare its citizens? Or will Rome finally fall after so many centuries of glory? These were all very real concerns. But thankfully, there was one thing the Romans didn't have to worry about, namely nuclear weapons. In our own timeline, the atomic age began in 1945 when the United States dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Japan, ending World War II. But in this world, the discovery of nuclear fission happened 50 years later in the newly formed Roman Federation. To keep things simple, we'll call this moment of divergence the bomb cellar. It's one of the most significant moments in human history, a line that should never have been crossed, but was. Now the question is, what happens next? After the bomb cellar, the Roman Federation exploded onto the world stage as a technological and military superpower. Emperor Romulus Augustus declared himself Romulus the Great and set about modernizing the empire in a way no one could have imagined. The first order of business was to rebuild Rome in steel and glass, turning the crumbling ruins of antiquity into a shining metropolis. With the new Rome serving as the capital, the Federation expanded throughout Europe, conquering old Roman territories and forming alliances with the various Germanic kingdoms that had sprung up in the West. By the year 1476, the Roman Federation had become a true transcontinental empire, stretching from Britain to North Africa and from Ireland to the Middle East. But even as the empire reached new heights, dark clouds were gathering on the horizon. The discoveries of nuclear energy soon led to the development of new weapons. Not only guns and bombs, but cybernetic enhancements for soldiers and even entire automated war machines. The Roman Federation became locked in a deadly arms race with the Ottoman Turks, who had seized Constantinople in 1453 and were now marching across the Balkans. The Turks had embraced gunpowder weapons and military technology from China, and the Romans feared their advance westward, so the emperors turned to the mysterious Hyperborean tribes in the far north for help. These fierce warriors rode giant bears into battle and wielded weapons of ice. Yes, we really went there. We know it sounds crazy, but stay with us because this is going to be one wild ride. Over time, the Romans mastered these new technologies, turning the tide of the war against the Turks. But in the process, they created new problems for themselves. The steady flow of new inventions and improvements to existing ones made the legions incredibly powerful, but it also meant that the average soldier was equipped with more gadgets than any medieval peasant could have imagined. The rise of increasingly sophisticated artificial intelligence led to the creation of the Legionaries unit, automated war machines piloted by AI and armed with everything from flamethrowers to self-destruct helmets. These lethal robots proved instrumental in defeating the Ottomans once and for all in the Battle of Transcends, putting an end to the long and bloody struggle between the two empires. Now, before we get into the gritty details of cyberpunk Rome, let's talk about some of the amazing tech and inventions that shaped this alternate timeline. First up, we have the gladiator cybernetics, a series of advanced cybernetic implants developed by the Roman military to enhance the capabilities of their soldiers. These implants range from simple upgrades like enhanced vision and strength to more complex systems like neural interfaces and robotic prosthetics. Now, you might be wondering, didn't Rome invent concrete? Nope, but they did improve it. The Roman invention of pozzolana concrete made construction projects like aqueducts and roads much stronger and more durable. It contained volcanic ash and seawater, making it resistant to earthquakes and erosion. And thanks to its flexibility, many of Rome's structures are still standing today. And speaking of standing, let's not forget about the Roman road system. The Romans built over 400,000 miles of roads during their empire, allowing for easy transportation of goods and people. This extensive network of roads was the key to the empire's success and even inspired modern road systems. Next, let's take a look at Roman engineering and architecture. From the Pantheon, with its impressive concrete dome, to the aqueducts that brought water to the city, Roman engineering feats were truly remarkable. Their architectural innovations not only served a practical purpose, but also showcased the power and grandeur of the Roman Empire. Finally, we have Roman law, a comprehensive set of laws and regulations that governed every aspect of Roman society, from criminal law to family law. The Romans believed in justice and equality before the law, and their legal system was highly influential in shaping Western legal traditions. Alright, so now let's get back to the story. The defeat of the Ottomans marked a turning point in the history of the Roman Federation. With their greatest enemy vanquished, the Romans turned their attention to the rest of the world. In the Americas, they forged alliances with the Aztec and Inca empires, trading luxury goods and advanced technology for gold and other resources. In Asia, they established trading posts along the Silk Road and sent explorers to the Pacific to find new trade routes. By the year 1676, the Roman Federation had become a true global superpower, ruling over more land and people than any previous empire in history. But with great power comes great responsibility, or in this case, great corruption. As the empire grew, so did the power of the emperor. The once noble title of Augustus became a synonym for supreme ruler, and the emperors began to see themselves as gods among men. The growing disparity between the rich and poor led to widespread discontent and rebellion, and the legions were called in to put down the revolts. But the more the emperors used the legions to maintain control, the more the soldiers came to resent the civilian leaders. And eventually it all came to a head with the rise of Marcus Aurelius Augustus VII. Known as the Iron Emperor, he ruled over the Roman Federation with an iron fist, crushing any opposition and expanding the empire even further. He built a massive standing army of 1 million soldiers and equipped them with the latest cybernetic enhancements and war machines. He also commissioned the construction of the Colossus of Rome, a giant robot warrior that would serve as a symbol of the empire's power. The Iron Emperor's reign lasted for decades, but eventually he died and left the empire to his son Commodus Augustus. Unlike his father, Commodus was weak and indecisive, and he quickly lost control of the unruly legions. Soon the entire empire was thrown into chaos as the legions turned on each other and a civil war seemed imminent. But then a new player entered the fray, Julius Caesar Augustus, a brilliant military commander and the leader of the Caesar faction, a breakaway group from the ruling Augustus clan. Caesar Augustus was able to unite the warring legions under his banner and march on Rome. The ensuing battle was epic, with legions of cyborg soldiers wielding plasma weapons and riding giant war beasts into battle. In the end, Caesar Augustus emerged victorious and established a new dynasty. But don't worry, we haven't forgotten about the original Star Wars. While the Jedi Order fell victim to Darth Sidious's machinations in our timeline, in this world, they were saved by none other than Obi-Wan Kenobi. After the Clone Wars, Kenobi sensed the growing darkness in the hearts of the Sith and decided to take drastic action. He revealed Palpatine's true identity as Darth Sidious to the Jedi Council and led a mission to arrest the Sith Lord. But Palpatine was too powerful, and he unleashed his full force on the Jedi, killing many of them, including Master Yoda. However, Kenobi was able to escape with a small group of survivors, including a youngling named Luke Skywalker. Together, they fled to the planet Tatooine, where they went into hiding. There, Kenobi trained Luke in the ways of the Force and taught him the importance of hope and compassion. Meanwhile, Palpatine took control of the Galactic Republic and transformed it into the Galactic Empire. But the Jedi were not finished fighting. With Luke by his side, Kenobi faced off against Darth Vader in an epic lightsaber duel. Although Vader was more powerful, Kenobi was able to hold his own and escape. However, Vader tracked them down on Tatooine and confronted them once again. But just as Vader was about to strike the final blow, Luke intervened and redeemed his father, turning him back to the light side of the Force. With the Sith defeated and the Galactic Empire crumbling, the Jedi Order was finally able to rebuild itself and bring peace and justice to the galaxy once again. By the year 2077, the Roman Federation had become the most technologically advanced civilization in the world. The Romans had mastered genetic engineering, creating super soldiers with incredible abilities. They had also delved deep into the secrets of the human mind, developing advanced cybernetics that allowed humans to interface directly with computers and even transfer their consciousness into machines. And let's not forget about the flying chariot. Inspired by their ancient ancestors, the Romans had developed a variety of flying vehicles, ranging from small personal transports to massive troop carriers. These flying chariots were powered by anti-gravity engines and were equipped with advanced targeting systems and weaponry. They were the ultimate expression of Roman ingenuity and military might. But not everyone was happy with the direction the empire was taking. A growing number of people known as the traditionalists wanted to return to the values and traditions of the ancient Romans. They saw the advancements in technology as a threat to the natural order of things and believed that the soul of Rome was being lost. The traditionalists were led by a charismatic preacher named Marcus Tullius, who attracted a large following among the poor and disenfranchised. He preached a message of hope and salvation, promising to restore Rome to its former glory. Marcus Tullius claimed that he had received visions from the gods that showed him a future where Rome was nothing more than a decaying husk of its former self. He warned that the empire was on the brink of ruin and that only a return to traditional Roman values could save it. His followers, known as the Faithful, took his message to heart and began to plan a revolution to overthrow the current regime. As the unrest grew, the Iron Emperor Commodus Augustus realized that he needed to take action. He assembled his elite Praetorian Guard, a cybernetically enhanced shock troop equipped with the latest weaponry to put down the rebellion. The Faithful fought bravely, but were ultimately no match for the might of the Praetorian Guard. Marcus Tullius was captured and executed, but his death only served to martyr him in the eyes of the people. The revolution may have failed, but the seeds of discontent had been sown. The people of Rome were growing tired of the Iron Emperor's rule, and the future of the empire was uncertain. What would become of Rome as the different factions battled for control of the city? How would the rest of the world react to the turmoil in Rome? And what role would the Jedi play in this strange new reality? Only time would tell. Alright viewers, that's it for now. Let us know what you think of this alternate history scenario. Would you like to see more videos like this one? Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your ideas for future videos. Until next time, stay curious.